Hi, everyone. It's Life and Vibe, otherwise known as Ray. And I wanted to catch everybody up with what has been happening with my court case with our good friend Sarasota Tim. So let me just try to catch everybody up with what is going on. So I released a video a couple of weeks ago called Not Over on the thumbnail. I can't remember the full title of the video that gave information about a non-suit that I took on April the 10th. I had sworn a warrant in debt out, and I just kind of want to explain. The reason being is that Sarasota Tim has maliciously used the YouTube copyright system to cause harm to my channel and was part of a conspiracy with another individual called Chris Google Maps in order to do this harm to not only my channel, but many other channels across this platform. Sarasota Tim, also known as Timothy Baker, has never saw any type of follow through on any of the counter notifications I submitted. And he struck over the course of a year, just slightly over a year, about 10 different videos of mine. Now, I try to do everything within fair use. The purpose of the channel is to call out medical misinformation and so forth and have a good time kind of highlighting people who have no qualifications on the internet, who love to give lifestyle advice and life advice and financial advice and all different types of advice on the internet. And so I have started with that mission for this channel, this community, Life and Vibe. And we have reached a point where I sent Sarasota Tim a very expensive cease and desist. It's fine if he wants to go for copyright, but he needs to have some follow through. I then sent him a demand letter at the start of the year, since he was still striking my videos with no follow through. And I saw that he did see the correspondence, but never actually contacted me. So with that said, I finally, YouTube, as you know, is not very helpful. And I do have a monetized channel. I do make some income from this channel. I am very proud to say this community is fantastic. And we have this mission. We don't want people getting bad information on the internet, especially from somebody like Sarasota Tim. And you'll have to go back in other videos just to see why he is so problematic, apart from the fact that he weaponized the YouTube copyright system. That being said, I finally took him to court. And on April the 10th, my original warrant was for a smaller amount and really just covered what I had paid for the attorneys for the cease and desist. And because of the types of codes that I'm using in Virginia and the way general district court is set up, it is a very quick process. We don't have to do all these mediations. There's none of all of these different things. It's a very different system. It is made to be quick and efficient and with rapid results. So all the things that maybe other attorneys talk about are the norms in other states are not the norms for this type of civil suit here in Virginia. So lo and behold, on April the 10th, I don't want to make this too long. I'll make me a little bit smaller here. I went to the court and I took what was known as a non-suit. And we can see that here. This is the General District Court. This is me, the plaintiff against Timothy Baker. And so this is the case here. And so I took what was known as a non-suit. Since it just says that means that case was without any type of prejudice. So the following week, you do have a certain amount of time that you have to refile the case. And so I needed to refile because I needed to go into a different courtroom, not the small claims, but into General District Court because the claim amount became higher. And so in order to satisfy, I moved to General District. And that is what happened there. So let me go back. So here, so that was the non-suit on April the 10th. So on April the 17th, I appeared back in court in person in the city of Virginia Beach. And there was this particular warrant in debt. As I said, the amount was much higher. I appeared in the courtroom, and from the court, the judge actually did phone Sarasota Tim. Now, I did have a video that I did live. If you want to catch up with that, I'll make sure to link it at the end, where I actually really go over everything that Sarasota Tim had said to the judge. The judge has the discretion here in Virginia to give a person an appearance by telephone and or by camera, and the judge gave him a call. And Tim had been contacting the court and had requested a appearance from a distance because he lives in Florida. Well, the judge in Virginia has now ordered that both Tim and I are to appear in court on August the 13th, 2026 in Virginia. And if you go back to my video, like I said, I'll link at the end, the judge gave Tim lots of time to decide which month did he want to come to Virginia Beach to be in court, because he sees on the warrant, my refiled case, the codes for malicious intent and the codes for the conspiracy. And I also did have him served through the Secretary of the Commonwealth through a long arm statute to get him to appear here in court in Virginia, because I do have a business. As many people don't want to be flippant about it or don't seem to understand. Other people have had their channel also harassed by this individual, and to know that they publicly have spoken about haters and so on and so forth. There's plenty of things that obviously I don't want to give everything away. So it very clearly obviously says that I'm here, and this is obviously not doxing anybody. This is completely available. I did want to preface that I am representing myself pro se in this matter, and anything in this video is just a status update on my personal case and a breakdown of the court's recent order. It's not any type of legal advice, and obviously if you do need any type of legal help, please make sure to contact a licensed professional and not just type stuff into Grok. You need to actually speak to attorneys who I had spoken to originally with my cease and desist. And I'm not giving my entire strategy away, but obviously I do have assistance in the background because there's going to be a lot. And those who've been following my case will have seen my preparation, and I'll do some more things around that. I am a registered nurse, just want to say. So not a legal person, but I do understand preparing and getting things ready and getting things organized for the judge. So there we were in front of the judge on April the 17th. That was my refiled court date, and the judge got Mr. Baker on the phone. And the funniest part about this is that Tim did try to let the judge know that he is this poor man on Social Security, and he is just, struggling to get anything money-wise, and it would be such an inconvenience for him to have to travel. And with that said, I did want to share this particular gem from Tim that he recently uploaded a couple of days ago, probably April the 21st or something. And what he says about his financial situation, which is very different from what he told the judge.
Really sad. So the going, all right, I cried, it's over, I'm done. The KLX, I probably, because it's not that much money, and I don't need it, because one thing I got is plenty of money, is just leave it. Just leave it. Just use it. Just ride it. Just enjoy it. Just find a slope. Just get somebody to push it up on the back of this truck. Just take it. Just do it. Just get over yourself. And keep it.
And in this video, Tim talks about the fact that he's sunk about $9,000 into this motorcycle. And so him trying to plead poverty to the judge in Virginia Beach just seems a little bit ironic to me, because he doesn't seem to think he has any financial issues. And so I'm sure that he would be interested to hear that. So Tim tried to bamboozle his way through the judge, and the judge was not having any of it over the telephone. And yes, that can happen in the Commonwealth. And obviously something happened, because here clearly stating that this has been continued. And it is a civil hearing, and it is now set to August the 13th, and it is a contested hearing. A contested hearing meaning that we are going to trial. Trial meaning that for this type of general district court, it's in front of the judge, and the judge has ordered that we have to the courts certain pieces of information, not only to the courts, but also to the other individual. For example, I have to get something over to Tim. So let me share this real quick, and we'll just kind of finish this out. I won't make it too long. This is actually the court order. There's really no personal information on here other than what the order is. I've gone over this before. It gives the information that we are to follow. Tim's was mailed to his in Florida. Hopefully he's received that. So I am to produce what is known as a bill of particulars. Let me see if I can make that any bigger real fast. Does that make it any bigger? No, it just puts me in the center. It doesn't really make any difference. Eh? I can be up on the tree. I can be down on the tree. All right. I guess over here's a little better because you can see me. So the order states that I'm to have a bill of particulars prepared for Tim and uploaded, I believe it's to the courts by the 8th of May. So I already have mine pretty much ready to go. I have just a couple of things that I need to address. I'm sorry, I know I'm looking around because I have my folder. Where was my folder? Oh, it's probably in my it's in my briefcase. Okay, I'm not going over for that. So I have to do some things about labeling my exhibits and just a couple of little finicky things. But for the most part, my bill of particulars has followed the court format and it is ready to go. So like I said, there's just a little bit of labeling of the exhibits I need to finish. And there's a couple of extra exhibits I wanted to make sure to add in. And I also need to do something with the calculations. So there's just a couple of things, but for the most part, like I said, it's completed. So I'm very ready to go. Probably work on that this weekend. Maybe I'll do a get ready with me on my evidence and talk to you guys while I stick labels on. How exciting would that be for a members only live? But anyway, make sure to take a look at the Good Life community. We're growing, so come join us. We also have Tim will be getting a copy of the bill of particulars, so I will be sending all of this to his address. The judge did recommend that I put that as a certified mail, and that is good advice. I just had a piece of certified mail returned to me. I had sent to Tim's home. He did not receive it, and he did not pick it up. I have had other notifications that Tim has received and signed for mail that has come from the Secretary of the Commonwealth and has picked those items up. And so those ones I have had confirmed. And Tim did try to say that he had late service and so forth, but the judge gave him heads up that he had been served by the Secretary of the Commonwealth, and his responding to the court and sending correspondence and requesting appearances through telephone and so forth were granted to him. But now the judge has ordered that he does need to appear in Virginia on August the 13th. That's what's been ordered. Then Tim has to send to me what's known as a grounds of defense. So he needs to look at the bill of particulars that I will be sending to him. Obviously, I cannot share this. This is my court case, but that's what I'm working on, obviously within those codes. And he then needs to come with his formal response that he needs to have sent to the courts by May 29th. So in reality, I'm going to get mine in pretty soon because I want to get it up to the courts, and obviously a little bit of time mailing it to Florida. But technically, May 8th is when I could do that. Tim then has about 21 days, 3 weeks to provide a response and have that to the courts by 4 p.m. on May 29th. So it cannot be mailed out on May 29th. It has to be in the hands of the court. So otherwise, you become in contempt of court. And so it's very important that these things are followed. These are things that are now court ordered in Virginia. And there are a long arm statute, and Florida has very good receptiveness in following through with court orders from other states. So the one thing that is beneficial to me in my case is that Florida is very good at upholding other people's orders. And so Tim, as so forth, has been ordered. The long arm statute has been sent out. And so it is his decisions now as to how he makes his decisions moving forward. Me, what will I be doing? I will be, like I said, finishing my bill of particulars. That is my evidence. That is everything, including, how I calculate my amounts of money for what he is being asked to give me. I have asked for the return of the cost of the attorney I hired for the cease and desist and for the demand letters and for process servers and for some use of FedEx services. The total came to slightly, I think, over $4,600 or $800 some dollars, something of that nature. Something around there, 4,600, something of that nature. I'm sorry, I repeated myself there. And then I added for reputational harm, $5,000, which is very reasonable considering that is also for my videos being taken down, loss of income, my professional name being reputationally harmed as a registered nurse, trying to call out people who scam medical information and so forth. And so that's very reasonable. I've heard a case recently where somebody is trying to sue a creator for $15 million just on the reputational harm. So my $5,000 is within reason, I think, for a judge to make a decision on. I'm not asking for something outrageous. I also have seen the ability to get the treble damages threefold because of the conspiracy, and therefore that amount could get closer to $30,000. There is also a 6% interest since the first strike on the 24th of December. I think that might be just against the attorney fees. I don't think that goes on to the reputational damage from what I've understood. But I would be interested to see. But yes, I've also included that as well as a very nominal court cost fee of $80. I am going pro se, as I said earlier in my disclaimer, and therefore I'm not going to be obviously looking to recuperate any further attorney's fees, which would be eligible for this particular case, reasonable attorney fees. I spoke in the past about when I took the non-suit, had Tim traveled to Virginia, I could have been potentially responsible. I would not be responsible for anything now. Everything is now in his cost, his needing to find counsel, whatever he needs to do. If he wants to go pro se, however he wants to do it. But this has now been court ordered. And all that thought that it was going to be considered frivolous by the judge, or it would be thrown out, or I would not be able to obtain a long arm statute and be requiring Mr. Baker to appear in court in Virginia. I hope that you can see, obviously, in this matter, and let me just go last time back over to the courts here. Let me add this back onto the stage. You can see that obviously this is the court system from Virginia Beach, the General District Court online case information system. You're all welcome to go and check out the details of this case yourself. It doesn't really give too much, but it does give you the date that I obviously filed this case, and what has been happening with the hearings so far. And here will be anything at some point once we get here to August 13th, depending on how everything goes that date. See, we have the interest award, attorney's fees, which, like I said, I very kindly am not hiring an attorney. So Tim would not be responsible for those. But the costs he would be. And then whenever I get for judgment and principal and so forth. And then obviously I'm looking forward to sharing this journey. I know that it seems strange. A lot of times it seems it would be the other way around. I've heard a lot of things about people trying to sue other creators, and it's usually the person that seems to be the scammer trying to sue the other person. And in my respect, I don't. I'm the actual professional calling out the scammer who has saw their use of the copyright system and weaponized it and took the time to counter notify and took the time to use attorneys. And it's been a long time coming. And so I look forward to the court date. And I just am thankful to the community who is supporting me through all of this. And I just appreciate it. And if you did get this far and you do this, like this type of content, like, comment, subscribe, you know, the good stuff. Hit the hypes if you see that hype button. That's always appreciated. And I always like the little emojis. If you want to show a picture of a beach or an umbrella or anything that shows Virginia Beach. I know he's out in Bradenton, close to the ocean, but I'm here on the East Coast, close to the ocean too, here in Virginia Beach. And so I appreciate that. And like I said, that is kind of what's happening. And I did want to catch up with everybody and not force everybody to have to watch a really, really long video. But if you got this far and through this video, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one, and I'll keep you posted.
Life and Vibe, thanks so much. My queen, my Sarasota Tim expert.